Hey guys, back here with another video. You guessed it, Chevy Malibu. I can't help it. The fleet company that I work at part-time has a whole slew of Chevy Malibus. 40, 450s. So it is what it is. I usually have time when I'm here to make some videos, so hopefully it's helpful to people. Today I've got a 2014 Chevy Malibu with a leaky water pump, and I am going to change the water pump, and I'm hoping to help out some folks that may want to try to do it themselves, because this water pump is really easy, and there's no reason why you wouldn't want to try to do it on your own if it's your own car. So I've done a couple preliminary things. I have loosened all the bolts in the water pump. I have taken the belt off. I'm going to show you that. I have put a catch pan underneath the car for the coolant that's going to leak out when I pull the pump. The other thing I have not done is drain the system down. I'm not going to. I'm going to let whatever spills out when I pull the water pump spill out, and that's going to be the end of it. This water pump, I think it might say the correct way to do it might be to pull the whole housing, or at least the thermostat housing. Yeah, that's the thermostat housing. It'd make it easier to get to one bolt in the back, and I'll try to show you that. You can't really see it, you can feel it. So here we go. Alright, let's get this flashlight in here. So as you can see, I got a 1/2 inch ratchet. It's a short ratchet. It is on the serpentine belt tensioner. I do have my belt tucked out of the way. That tensioner, when you have it into the very end of it with your your 1/2 inch ratchet, you are going to pull up on the ratchet handle like you are loosening a bolt. That's the way the tensioner rolls. It pulls a little hard, so you got to put a man hand on it and pull like you mean it. And then I pulled the belt off of the water pump, and I just tucked it out of the way. It's good to tuck it out of the way. You can take it completely off, but I just tucked it out of the way. It's good to do that as far as you can, because if you spill some coolant on it, a lot of coolant on it, it could make the belt chirp a little bit after you're done. Now is an excellent time to replace the belt when you have the water pump out, because the belt is going to be off. I am not doing so because this belt is in okay condition. But if this is your car, the belt's probably 30 bucks. It's worth it just to be done with it. Alright, so onto the bolts. So there's a bolt there, as you can see, that I have loosened. It is right next to the exhaust manifold. I do highly recommend you let the car cool. Do this with the car cold, because you are going to be all over this exhaust manifold, and it's extremely hot. So the other bolt, as you can see, is there. So you got 1, 2. The other bolt, and I'm going to try to not do a reflection on the camera. Let me angle, and if you look down through between, hell, I might even be able to point to it. So that other bolt, there's my finger, where'd it go? And right there, the wiggle, that's one of the bottom bolts. So I loosened these with a ratcheting wrench. It is a 10 millimeter, and I've done all 3 of these up here with a 10 millimeter. The other bolt that you have to get is directly below this one, pretty much, and you cannot see it. Okay. Now, if you removed the thermostat housing right there, you'd have much easier access to get to that. I am not going to remove that housing because I do not want to mess with the thermostat gasket or the thermostat. But I will tell you, now is an excellent time to replace your thermostat. Even if it doesn't need it, it's a good idea to do it preventatively if you have any kind of miles on your car. If you have 100,000 miles on your car, it's an excellent time to do it when the coolant is drained down. Their thermostat is probably going to cost you 25 bucks at most. Great time to do it. The coolant's already going to be drained. Definitely do it. I am not going to do that today, but as you can see, that housing only has 2 bolts on it, and one there and one there. Pull that out, there's your thermostat. So the other one that you're going to access, and you're going to have to do it by feel, is you're going to reach in around the exhaust manifold. That can be done. I don't have super long arms, so you're going to reach your arm in through here, all the way down, all the way to that water pump. Reach all the way in, and you're going to feel the head of that. It's actually a 6mm bolt, but it's got a 10mm head. And you're going to feel it in the back. And I have already, I believe, removed. Yes, I have. So you're going to feel it. You got to work your hand in and around. Feel your way through. And you're going to feel, eventually, the head of that. So what you're going to want to do, what I used, is this long extension, okay? I stuck this around the exhaust manifold and simply kind of poked around with this until I found it. You can kind of line it up and feel level, okay? Kind of hit it, you know, where push it until it wants to stop, and then you can feel around for the bolt. Now, if you really wanted to, you could stick both this extension with this socket. You can stick it down in there and then fish your hand all the way in and kind of set the socket with your extension on the head of the bolt, back your hand out, and where you're going to have it, what I did once it was on is I moved it out to about here. Okay, my light's not in the greatest spot, but you can see right there, that's the end of my extension. That's about the position it's going to be. It's going to loosen very easily. They're not torqued on very hard. So I grabbed a 3/8 ratchet with this 3/8 extension, and I spun it out. I got it loose. I reached my hand all the way back there, spun it out by hand, no problem. Here's the 10mm ratcheting wrench that I used to do the other 3. Now, the only other small tricky part is reaching this bolt. Not really tricky, it just takes a little bit of time. I probably had, I don't know if I've already said this, but maybe 15 minutes into this to get it prepped to where I have it now. So it doesn't take very long. So that bottom bolt down there that I've showed you before, you have to fish your fingers down in there around this coolant tube and slowly work it out. That's the only one that's kind of crappy to get to, and you got to spin it out with 2 fingers, you know, 2 fingers on one hand, you know, just with the sides of your fingers, work it out. It'll come out. It doesn't thread that hard once you've got it broken loose. All right, so I'm going to remove bolts and I'm going to pop this water pump off. Sometimes they come off a little hard, so you might have to just lightly tap on it with a hammer just to crack the a seal that creates between the aluminum pieces and an O-ring. There should be an O-ring set back there, and I'll show you the new water pump. I've done maybe 1 or 2 of these on these. This is a 2014 Chevy Malibu, if I haven't said that. This has a 2.5 liter motor. So I'm reaching, this is how I reach this bolt down here, and it's actually not all the way out, so right now I'm threading it with my 2 fingers. Yep, there's the last thread. Here's the bolt. I'm going to set them up here. That's how long they are. There's the other 3. The 3, and then the other one from the exhaust manifold is right here. Bingo. That's the only 4 that hold that in. So now you have just the water pump. And it just pushed off by hand. As you can see, that little black rubber piece that's sliding out, that's your O-ring. So as you can see, the coolant's running out. And normally what I do if I don't bleed the cooling system down, which I'm sure if you looked up a service procedure, it's going to tell you to bleed the cooling system down. I'm actually almost certain it's going to. You only want to replace this when the engine is cool. You don't want to do it when the coolant is hot. If it's lukewarm, you'll be all right, but you want the engine to be cold. And I always just pull it away a little bit and let all the coolant drain down, rather than just pulling it and yanking it out and doing a full flow of coolant and letting it splash absolutely everywhere. I try to control the splash. So here it is. This pump's never been out before. And there you go. This is what it looks like. So this is your O-ring right here. And it sits down in that channel. This is a plastic impeller. And it doesn't look damaged. So I didn't diagnose this. It looked like there's a little bit of staining on the bottom, so I'm not 100% certain if that's the reason why we're changing it or not. And then the pulley, obviously when the drive belt is your serpentine belt that you removed, it sits on that pulley, spins the impeller. Okay, this one's garbage. I'm gonna go set that one down over here. Oh, set out my little toolbox here. And here we are with the new one. Bingo, bango, bongos. Oh, let's see. I did put this is a GMB. This is what we use for water pumps here, generally, most of the time. Oh, there's the gaskets. So it does look like it comes with the gaskets to pull all that other housing off. I totally forgot about that. So it does look like if you wanted to pull this housing off and probably that whole assembly out, you've probably got enough O-rings here to do that. I don't really feel like it's necessary. Seems like a lot of extra work to me. The only thing that seems to make sense to me is replacing the thermostat. But usually the thermostats, when you buy them from the parts store, they come with a gasket. So I don't know. I'm just gonna do it this way. So let's take a peek down in here where the water pump did mount up. It does look like there's some corrosion on it, so I'm gonna get a scuff pad. See if I can go find one really quickly. And I'm just gonna scuff that corrosion off. I'm probably gonna use a gray scuff pad. You don't want to use anything aggressive, because if you score that deep, you're gonna leak coolant. So I'm gonna run after a, I'll take it with me. Run after a scuff pad, see if I can find one. Oh, man. Oh, I hurt my foot today. I don't know how, and it hurts like hell to walk on. It's ridiculous. Oh, let's see what we got in here. Oh, right here. Here's a little piece. So this is what I'm going to use right here. I can just break off a little piece of that, tear a little piece off. Tear a little piece of that off. You know what I'm saying? Wow, man, my foot. Oh, and I want to grab a rag. Rag, and generally I'll use a can of brake clean to wipe it up. I don't see any close by. A couple cans of nothing sitting there. Sorry guys, making you walk all around the shop with me here. I'm hobbling. Oh, here's a little splash. Maybe there's just enough. Yeah, so what I'm going to use is this for is just to clean off any of the corrosion and the dirt and dust off of the mating surface of this aluminum housing here. I probably just made everybody sick walking around the shop shaking my phone. A little bit of seasick. So let me see if I can prop my cellular device where people can see. potentially. Oh, yeah, I might be able to make that work. So I just tore off a small piece. Ta-da! And I'm just going to take it all around on the mating surface here. It's not going to take much to scuff this off. And just go all the way around where that rubber seal is going to hit. And I'm willing to bet that what I've just done is going to be plenty. It doesn't seem like it was too thick. Do a little bit on the back side here. Yeah, I think that's fine. So I'll spray a little brake cleaner on my rag. And I'm just going to wipe it all off. Get all the dirt and dust off of there. This video is starting to get a little long. I usually like to try to make the videos short so people can get bored and lose interest and be like, man, just get to the damn point. But a lot of my videos I've done before, I haven't really shown the process. I've just kind of shown it afterwards and told you what I did. Because a lot of times when you're doing it in the middle of the repair, there's a lot of variables. You got to go fetch tools. You don't know what you need. Next thing you know, you've got an hour-long video and people are bored as shit. Alright guys, I am pretty happy with that. And I think it's going to seal. Totally fine. Just get you a shot of that. All cleaned up, nice and buffed. Let that brake cleaner evaporate a little bit. It does look a little dirty on the bottom there. I might just wipe that. I think it's just a little bit of coolant running out. I'm not going to get too concerned about that. I think that rubber seal is going to seal just fine. Okay guys, set you down here. Hopefully you can see this. I'm not really 100% certain. Tear open my seal. Whoops. I slung that off to no man's land. And just going to walk this gasket right in this channel. It's going to pinch in there with these little divots in here. It's going to pinch in there and it's going to stay. So you don't have to worry too much about this one falling off. Some of the flat gaskets that sit on the mating surface, sometimes you got to worry about them falling and getting out of place. This one's going to be totally fine. There you go. O-rings in. And this one, orientation's going to be this way. Let me grab my phone here. And, oh, phone's in the way. Try to line this up so you guys can see it the best. This part's not the hardest part anyways. So, in it goes. And there it is, sitting in its home right there. So I can't take my hand off of it because it'll probably fall out. So I'm going to try to prop my phone up one more time, and I'm going to thread a couple of these bolts back in just to hold it in place. So guys, the torque spec for this, while I'm
blowing time trying to get these bolts in here is 18 foot-pounds, is what I read on the repair program that I have access to. I do try to torque water pumps. Some things you can get away with not torquing. Water pumps, I try not to over torque and crush that rubber seal. Okay, so those are started and holding. I'm going to reach around the back and stick in the other one that's kind of hard to get to on the bottom. And I'm just going to use a finger to, and this isn't meant to be dirty, the hole for the bolt. And I got the bolt in there. And it started, no problem. I'm going to thread this one in as far as I can, since I'm all the way in here. Perfect. The only other one I have left, like I said before, is a little bit tricky. It's down on the bottom side. So I'm going to do like a backhand lining up here. Hopefully it works. I know it's hard to show every movement that I'm about to do, and visibility is super limited, especially with my hands in there, my hairy arms. And thought I had that one. What's going on here? There it goes. As you can see how I have my hand in there, and I'm just slowly trying to thread it in there, catch the threads. If it feels like it binds, I'll start over again, but it feels like it's catching totally fine. Yeah, no problem. And I'm going to use my right hand. A lot of times what you got to do is kind of wiggle the part you're putting in. See if my phone will stay there. Okay, so what I'm going to do on this bottom one, I'm going to grab my ratcheting wrench. I can't get it to go anymore, and I want it to. I want to make sure that it's straight. I want to see if it feels like it's binding. I don't think it's going to be, but I want to at least check it. I wish I could get a better flashlight angle so you guys could see. Yeah, this is going in totally fine. So I'm just going to lightly snug this up, because I want to tighten this up evenly. You want to tighten your gasket up as evenly as possible. Now, obviously, guys, with the way these bolts are situated, to achieve a correct torque spec is going to be kind of difficult. You know what I mean? So to stick a 3/8 ratchet in here or a 1/4 inch to try to hit your torque spec is going to be almost impossible, especially on that bottom bolt. If you stick a 1-foot-long extension on your torque wrench, I mean, anybody will tell you there's no way that's going to be accurate. You know, that's obvious. So what I'm probably going to do is just tighten these up by feel. I've done this long enough that I'm going to know when tight is tight. And I know when enough is enough, you know. I won't over torque it. See, I prop my phone up because I really want two hands here. I want to snug this lower bolt up just a little bit more. Get my trusty flashlight out here so I can kind of see what I'm doing. And yep, I got it back on there. And I'm just going to push this water pump tight against the housing so I can just snug up that lower bolt. Not going to tighten it, I'm just going to get it snug. I don't know if you can hear the clicking of the ratchet over the heater behind me, but it is starting to snug up. You can tell by what the clicks sound like. So I'm going to stop there because that's in there pretty good. And I'm going to go to these top ones. And I'm going to just snug these up. And then I'll pay more attention of, you know, I'll tighten this top corner up. Then I'll do the bottom, the very bottom right corner, I guess you could say. Reach my hand underneath the exhaust manifold. Whoops. That one's pretty tight. You can see it start to suck the gasket in. Man, I keep bumping that AC hose. Throwing my phone for a loop here. This one I gotta try to thread in. Might even be able to reach this one behind the exhaust manifold as well, just to speed the process up with your extension and your 10mm socket. Yeah, it's coming right into it here. Alright, see if I can get this in here. Oh yeah, I think I can stick the socket back there. I'm gonna try it just so you guys know. I think I can get it done. Oh, right there. Oh no, that oh, there it is. Watch this. Can you guys see that? Let me see. Oh yeah. See how I've got that tucked behind the exhaust manifold for this upper bolt? This isn't the lower bolt that you got to get by reaching behind the exhaust manifold, but this is the upper one, so that worked out really nice. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snug up the bottom one again that you can't see, and I'm probably gonna set the phone down for this, guys, because I might want to reach my hand all the way in there trying to find a bolt head. And I was able to without reaching my hand in there, just by twisting the socket and catching the bolt. So that one's in there. I'm actually going to hook the ratchet up to it, the 3/8, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a turn with the ratchet to get it a little bit tighter than just hand snug. Okay. And then that's just lightly snugged with the ratchet. I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to snug this one. God, wrong direction. And I'm going to go by feel, guys, so that doesn't feel tight, but you can see it getting sucked in, hopefully. Now I'm going to go down here to this bottom one on the front side, and I'm going to get that one nice and snug. So guys, a lot of times you see this screwdriver coming to the screen here. It's a flathead, and I stuck it down in there to hold the ratcheting wrench on because it wants to come off all the time. I stick it down there and hold it on. So that one's snugged up pretty good. Now I'm going to do the last one that I haven't snugged. I'm actually going to stick my ratchet back in there because I know it'll fit. Maybe you'll see it slowly come on the screen. I actually have to go on top of that. Take my ratchet off because I'm sure it's way easier. And I got it in the back. I just have to, and I'm threading this by hand right there. Put my ratchet back on, and this time, guys, when I have this in here, I am going to snug it up where I'm going to leave it, because I've given them all a good little tighten past, you know, hand snug. So this is where I'm gonna tighten them and leave it. These top ones I could probably check with a torque wrench. Because I could probably get one on it. And that one's done there. Pull my ratchet back off. And I'm going to alternate to this corner. So I try to tighten it up evenly. I am going to finish the torque with my ratcheting wrench. I think that's going to be good. Now I'm going to stick this and do the very bottom bolt behind the manifold with the ratchet this time instead of by hand. And I'm confident that this is not going to leak. And I have it on the bolt. Stick my ratchet on and finish the torque. Feels like it was pretty much there from last time. And last but not least, just check them one more time. Perfect. I'm going to stick my hand down in here. I'm going to feel how tight this one is. I know the very bottom one in the back is good. I'm not going to recheck that one, because that was one of the last bolts that I checked. This one I'm going to tighten just a little more. And that's it, guys. That baby's in. So the orientation of the water pump, this little, I guess, weep hole